أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
My grandfather had come here to work for somebody a long time ago, in the early 1900s. That's how the history started.
My grandfather came to this country in 1896 at the age of 17.
મારું નામ સફદર રહેમાની છે. અહીંયાનો જ પેદાશ છે મારી. હું આ જમાતનો મેમ્બર ત્યારથી જ છું.
My father came in Uganda in 1932 from India.
My father, Ghulam Ali Bhai Ramji, was born in 1923.
I am born in 1950.
I am the daughter of Sher Ali Ahmad Kassam and Kulsum Bai Kassam. I was born in Uganda in the Zambia hospital.
Myself, I was born here in Kampala too, and I was educated here in Kampala up to grade 12.
Uganda, as you all know, has always been one of the most beautiful countries that you could ever live in. And we all lived very happily whilst we were there in Kampala and all around Uganda as well. We had mosques all around in various small towns.
I have been here in Uganda for the last 52 years. I came to Uganda in early 1971, soon after the arrival of President Amin on political scene of this country, and have been here continuously since then. We have made Uganda our home. My mother and my wife are buried here actually.
We established our family here in Uganda. The starting was from Barara. The first shop he had was in Barara, and then he moved to Kampala. My father, Ibrahim Alaraka Kassam, was born here in Kampala. My mother, Rukia Bai Manjiwalji, was born in Masindi, and they came here to Kampala after that.
Now, from 1964 to 1967, I was in senior school. From 1967, I joined my father in business. My father was having a business of a maize mill and a petrol station in Piki.
My father was very young, he had lost his parents, but the whole family unity was always there. So they all had been in Hoima because it was easier to establish a small business and work. And we were all in Hoima for a long time until 1968.
મારો પોતાનો બિઝનેસ હતો. ફાધરનો બિઝનેસ હતો, એની સાથે હું જોઈન થયો હતો. પછી મેં જુદી દુકાન ખોલી હતી. ના ક્યુબ મ્યુઝમાં દુકાન હતી.
My grandfather's contribution is also very big to our community with the funding of our properties which were built, the Masumen and this trust buildings on William Street. They were all instrumental in progressing our Jamaat with the cooperation with other members also. It was not as if that one person would donate so much and the other would go over it. If somebody of our family was donating 100,000, the other families would also be donating the same.
My grandfather, he was a community man. His community came first to him. There was our first mosque was built at Wilson Road, and he looked after that mosque so much. In those days, the community was starting up new. Funds were very scarce.
In 1959, when we moved to this from William Street to this Imam Varga here in Kiseka, the Imam Varga, the mosque was not there. My grandfather, Muhammad Ali Bhai Ramji, decided that we would donate the mosque, build it completely from scratch and donate it to the Jamaat. So in 1959, mosque foundation was laid. In 1960 was the time when the mosque was completed and it was handed over to the Jamaat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
This is a wonderful mosque. It was mid-50s. At that time and still today, it is a remarkable architectural piece. And outside, because of the size of the Jamaat, we had outside praying area. And I would say they also had the wish that if a pandemic breaks, this is ideal for our COVID at the moment.
અમીનના પહેલાં 3000ની જમાત હતી અને એ 3000માં નાના મોટા બધા આવી જતા અને બધું બચ્ચાઓને શીખવાડવામાં આવતું. મોટાઓ માટે મજલિસને પ્રોગ્રામને બધું રાખવામાં આવતું.
My stay in Uganda in early 80s, I happened to come to Kampala from Nairobi. My uncle was in Uganda prior to a meantime and had to leave in 1972.
However, this Jamaat was one of the biggest Jamaats, the one in Kampala, and this mosque was already built.
My father, he became the president also of the Jamaat, and he was also when the school was established for Ishnashi school, he was the chairman of the education board.
My mother was the chairperson, and she used to work with Kulsum Aunty, Yusuf Uncle's wife, and also Ibrahim Bai's wife. The Jamaat was very, very active. We used to have all the programs. The Quran Khani used to happen every night. As well, we used to call the Mulyanis during the time of Muharram, the masjid where the namaz is being prayed. Everything used to be there. But however, some improvements, a lot of improvements have been done after that.
Yes, initially the ground floor of the school was the Khoja Shaikh Nursery School that most of us started from. And then there was a memorial hall here donated by the Haji Talbai Haji Jamal family. And later on the first floor was put in, and then we came back, was represented, and we have our office admin there. And as you know now, this is being run as the Bilal School.
Jinja to Kampala procession લઈ આવતા હતા, જેમાં સારી રોનક થતી. આખા યુગાન્ડામાં જેટલા જે આપણા લોકો હતા એ બધા ભેગા થતા અને procession નીકળતું.
Before 72, the mimbar was in the center portion there, and the ladies used to sit. There was no partition here, so this whole area was being used by the ladies section.
Today now we have made this partition because we had a few cubicles on that side for madrasa area, but unfortunately we had to remove them because the Jamaat is starting to increase now.
The doors there, this used to be the ladies area for Quran Khani.
Our forefathers, visionaries, I think, and I stand to be corrected, this was the only Koja complex in East Africa which had a car park. This was owned by the Tarbai family, the Haji Tarbai Haji Jamal, and it was swapped, and a token of I think 20 or 50,000, which was a lot of money at the time, was given, and this was a swamp, and then the Jamaat decided to build our Imam Barga here, and this was done on donation. This was donated at the construction, this Jamaat's land by Marum Haji Habib by Walji.
Less than 8 weeks are left before the deadline runs out.
And about 1.5 years of my stay here, we came across this Asians exodus.
If you remember, the history of the Asians was we were all expelled by Idi Amin in 1972. So we were all refugees in various parts of the world, and the Asians, and including the Ishnashis, were scattered all over the world.
Just before the Exodus was announced, Maulana had a dream that something along those lines is going to happen. And I think he even left early, and people were making joke of him. He told the Jamaat,
I dream that if you take decision now and remove the whole non-citizens.
And it was a very difficult time when in 1972 Idi Amin mentioned that all the Ugandans, Asian Ugandans, have to be expelled from Uganda.
I want to see that the whole Kampala street is not full of Indians.
Amin was not ready to budge, and ultimately we were expelled from Uganda, having to leave within 90 days deadline.
Yes, they must go to their country.
And the first thing I think what people thought about was send the girls away. And the elderly people wanted to stay around because initially they thought that Idi Amin, being a Muslim, and he came when he stood and came up and took up the oath for presidency. He came with the Quran in his hand, and everybody thought that this is going to be really good for the Muslims here. But however, it didn't turn out.
That time we were watching all the developments taking place very carefully. Some of our families deciding to leave. We all of a sudden came to know that such and such friends have left. So it was a time of uncertainties.
Everybody was in panic.
એક્સોડસની જ્યારે વાત આવી ત્યારે અમારી ફેમિલી એના પહેલાં થોડી તો ચાલી ગઈ હતી નહીં. પછી બાકી જેટલા હતા એ બારે નીકળી ગયા અને એમાંથી અહીંયાથી નીકળીને ઝીંઝા ગયા, અંબાલે ગયા, સરોટી ગયા અને બધી બાજુ વિખરાઈ ગયા.
My job at that time was to take many families to Entebbe airport. I have difficult memories of that time. When I was taking some of these families, some of them were asking me to take them around Kampala Road or other places where they had their businesses. And sometimes these families, all their family members, they were crying, they were weeping, thinking of leaving this country which they had made their home.
Moving from Uganda was very difficult for us. My grandfather had a number of businesses here and properties which were left behind as we left.
Everybody's houses were full, and to leave Uganda and where they had lived all their lives, born and brought up, and leave with just one suitcases was such a hard and difficult time. And even when we went from here, going to the airports was one of the most difficult times.
My father, a true Ugandan, never believed in having anything outside but in Uganda. He literally left on the last day of the deadline which Amin had set for us, and his intention was not to leave Uganda.
It was a difficult choice for many whether to think about going to UK or to go to Canada. And most people started making lines and going in for their citizenship and asking for their visas if they could take them.
As many Asian family did not even have proper documentation, thereby making them stateless.
At the time, I remember we even decided that everybody should come in and live in the mosque for a short period of time if the situation got really worse. However, the British government was exceptionally good. As they came out of the airport, it was winter, and lots of people came in with coats and winter clothing just to warm up the people.
This was in a real bad state. The inside, there were burning fires and bulls, voltanis, and goats and chicken everywhere. Entire complex and our adjoining place. So it was a battle. When we took over, obviously through the proper channels, we got the documentation.
The Jamaat of Kampala members appointed Brother Shabir Najfi and myself to tackle this task of evacuating those occupiers from UMS from all our mosques and centers throughout Uganda.
Okay, એક વર્ષ હું ઇદી અમીનના ટાઈમ પર હું ભેગી રહી જ્યારે અબોટે ટાન્ઝાનિયાની આર્મી લઈને જ્યારે ઇદી અમીનને જ્યારે ઓવરથ્રો કરવા માટે આવ્યો તો ત્યારે અમે લોકો ભેગીથી નીકળી ગયા કેમ કે ત્યાં બહુ જ ધમાલ હતી, બહુ જ ઇન્સિક્યોરિટી હતી.
So we had about 5-6 families here, and we made sure that all religious activities of the community continue, and we thank God that it was ensured and Allah Almighty helped us.
Alhamdulillah, during the 80s, Marhum Pyari Bhai Khimji, and Allah bless him, he had kept our mosque, which was in Kabristan, in immaculate condition. He had looked after the property. Then came a time when we decided in the early 90s that now few families had come in to settle from Dar es Salaam. So now was probably a time to get our Jamaat reorganized, have proper elections, and have a committee in place. With the blessings of Pyari Bhai Khimji, Habib Bhai Walji had also come back. Late Habib Bhai Walji had also come back to Kampala. In fact, he just knocked on my door and said, "Oh, I have come." I said, "You're very welcome." He stayed with us. for some time, and there was Hussein Bhai Barwani, his son Mahmoud also had come, and the Zulfikar Bhai Devji with his brother Muhammad and Azim also came from Tanzania. So they all became very, very helpful members of a community. Shiraz Bhai Walji, formerly from Uganda, his family, they also came. Roshan Bhai Jamal had come. So many former Uganda families, Lada Qasim family, Ibrahim Bhai Qasim had also come. You will excuse me if I do forget a few names.
So after living in Canada for about 4 years and then back again in England, returned again 25 years ago to Kampala and have been here since.
Luckily, after President Museveni took over, he invited the Asians back. In fact, I'll always remember his words. He said, whilst you all went back to Shepherd's Bush, I was in the bush fighting a war to bring you all back.
Alhamdulillah, slowly, all those who had migrated in the 72 started coming back. So it was nice to have them back because they had children as well. So the community started increasing in a nice way. And I've always been a very active member of the community, being a chair lady, a vice chair lady.
કંપાલા સાથે વધારે દિલચસ્પી હતી અને હું બિઝનેસ જે મારો હતો એની અંદર મને એમ હતું કે એ બિઝનેસમાં મને કન્ટિન્યુ કરવું છે એટલે હું એ જ બિઝનેસમાં આવી ગયો અને કંપાલામાં સેટલ થઈ ગયો.
પછી જ્યારે કંપાલા આવ્યા તો કંપાલામાં પણ એવી રીતના થતું હતું કે મોહરમના ટાઈમ પર મજલિસ થતી અને યુઝ્યુઅલી મોહરમના ટાઈમ પર મજલિસ અમે લોકો ઘરે કરતા બિકોઝ વિડીયો કેસેટ પર ને એના પર મજલિસ કરતા અમે લોકો એના સેટ્સ લઈ આવતા હતા ને વિડીયો કેસેટ પર કરતા મજલિસ. માહે રમઝાનમાં બી અમે ઇફતાર કરતા તો અમે ઘરે રાખતા હતા. એના સિવાય બીજે અમે પછી કબ્રસ્તાનમાં મજલિસ કરવાનું ચાલુ કર્યા જ્યારે આપણી જમાત બહુ નાની હતી. ઓનલી સમજો નાના મોટા બધા મનાવીને 25 પીપલ, ખાલી 25 જ જાના હતા ત્યારે.
But the longing for Uganda was always there. Then I came back to settle here with my family. Stayed here. Again, part of the community was there, so joined the community, being a committee member here or there, being part of the building committee, being a trustee in Kampala, and started my own businesses here. Started with printing, did that for about 10 years, and I also joined in and did bought some properties and went into the property business.
I have been here in Uganda since 1991, and it was hard coming from a big community into a very small community here in Kampala. There was no madrasa or anything, and since I had been a madrasa teacher in Nairobi as well, so that was my priority. So Alhamdulillah, Marhum Roshan Bhai's family was kind enough to donate their garage. So the children started madrasa there. The children were few, but still we managed to educate them in the Islamic knowledge. And regarding the mosque also, we didn't have a mosque at that time because the premises were not yet given back to us. So we were having our majalises and our Thursday programs at the Qabristan. I remember very well taking just a little tabarruk. Every family would bring some tabarruk and we would share. Though it was a small community, but it was a very pleasant one.
With our mutual contact in various government departments, we managed to successfully complete our repossession task, and with the participation of Brother Sabir Natri, Muhammad Barwani and other like-minded members.
When I was a youngster here, in the first few years we had many children in madrasa. If I'm not mistaken, we had about 100 children. However, after that, our population started going down.
મદ્રેસા નાના બચ્ચાથી લઈ અને સિનિયર સુધી મદ્રેસાના બચ્ચાઓ મારા પાસે આવતા અને એ લોકોના ક્લાસીસ જુદા જુદા બનાવેલા હતા સેક્શન વાઇઝ અને એ લોકોને ટ્રેનિંગ આપવામાં આવતી.
એક ટાઈમ એવો આવ્યો કે જ્યારે એ લોકો બુકોબા, માનસા અને કંપાલા એ ત્રણે મળીને મિની ટ્રાયેંગલનો સ્પોર્ટ્સ ચાલુ કર્યા.
Ramadan programs, the Quran Khanis, they were all being conducted. All kushalis, in fact the amals and everything also started coming in as members started increasing and everybody's ideas were being taken, and we were working all together with unity. So I think that's how our community grew to date.
We undertook the task of refurbishing of our old Imambara, converting into a shopping mall, and redeveloping most of our properties, turning them into income-generating assets for the benefit of community.
Ever since then, we had a full-fledged program made. I took my position from the assistant Mukhi and went into the chairman of sports, whereby we managed to build a volleyball ground with the help of Marhum Asghar Juma. And thereafter, we managed to get a multi-purpose a sports center which has been used till today. Because the complex was very big with a lot of parking and we were few members, we have managed to put the sports section here, including gymnasium, and everything is in-house with Imam Barga, masjid, gymnasium, multi-purpose sports center and volleyball ground.
At present, this area is being used as a gym, and we have the table tennis tables here for everybody to play table tennis. Next to it is the washrooms, followed by the store, which even pre-Exodus was the store only. We still use it as a storage area. And next to it is the Ghusl Khana, which has been now modified. We have our own mortuary, and Alhamdulillah, everything is in perfect condition at present.
તો આ જમાતમાં જે માણસો એન્જોય કરી રહ્યા છે, હું એટલો શ્યોર છું કે અહીંયા કંપાલામાં કોઈ 2 વર્ષ આવીને બેસી જાય, ઇંગ્લેન્ડથી, અમેરિકાથી, ક્યાંથી બી, પાકિસ્તાનથી, પછી એને અહીંયાથી જવામાં મજા નથી આવતું.
With this, we embarked on our project of giving the Imam Barga a new facelift, after putting in a lot of effort and putting a lot of hours into this. Alhamdulillah, we achieved what we set out to do, and we gave the Jamaat a complete facelift. We started planning Plot 6 Wilson Road at that time. Plot 6 Wilson Road holds a lot of sentimental value to the community of Kampala Jamaat. The past community members would know about it, the current community members know about it. And this developing Plot 6 Wilson Road was a step in the future of Kampala Jamaat. Alhamdulillah, with a lot of hard work, we managed to come down with a plan of what we need to do at Plot 6 Wilson Road.
In 1998, I became the chairman of the Kampala Jamaat, and I had a very active and efficient committee, which included Marhum Muhammad Bhai Ramtullah, and he helped me a lot, and we managed to tar the whole parking precinct, and we managed to do a lot of other things as my tenure as a chairman for 4 years. The Wilson Road, the mall did get burnt when I had just started my chairman, and then we had to rebuild. Hassan Huda, Shabir Jamal, Muhammad Bhai Ramtullah, Muhammad Bhai Manji, and myself, and we managed to create a new mall in the Wilson Road.
We've seen a very good progress in the community. We've seen amazing and good, great reciters, scholars coming to Kampala, gracing their blessings here with their beautiful recitations, and in Tabligh as well.
અહીંયા જે સિલસિલો છે થર્સડે વફાત શહાદત વિલાદત આમાં મૌલાના આવે છે આપણા રેસિડેન્સ મૌલાના મજલિસ પડે છે ને અહીંયાની ખાસ વાત આ છે જે ખોજાઓ માટે સારી વાત છે સ્પેશિયલી મારા માટે.
Since repossession of the properties, Kampala Jamaat was always very tight on income. Since it's not such a large population, donations were difficult to come by, but yet Alhamdulillah, Kampala Jamaat has the most niyazes around the world, and they would always gather donations for the masjid, the Imam Barga, for welfare, for medical, etc.
2012 માં અમે લોકો પ્રોગ્રામ કર્યા કે આ જે બિલ્ડિંગ છે અહીંયા અમે લોકો સ્ટાર્ટ કરવાના હતા પ્રોજેક્ટ અહીંયા. અમારા પહેલાં શબીરભાઈને આ લોકો પ્રોજેક્ટ સ્ટાર્ટ કરી દીધા હતા. પછી મને ચાન્સ લાગ્યો કે આ પ્રોજેક્ટને કમ્પ્લીટ કરી નાખું. ટ્રસ્ટી મારા સાથે હતા મરહુમ ઇબ્રાહીમભાઈ, મરહુમ પ્યાલી, ખીમજીભાઈ, યુસુફ કાબા. અમે લોકો સાથ મળીને મીટિંગ પર મીટિંગ કરતા હતા. અહીંયા બિલ્ડિંગ બનાવવા માટે કાંઈ બી તમને કન્સ્ટ્રક્શન કરવું હોય તો ઇઝી નથી. કામ સ્ટાર્ટ થયું 2012 માં જ્યારે હું ચેરમેન હતો ને આ કામ કમ્પ્લીટ થયું 2 વર્ષમાં. અમે લોકો ડિસાઇડ કર્યું કે આ બિલ્ડિંગ આપણા ખાલી ઇસ્નાશીઓને આપવાની છે. તો બધા એગ્રી થયા ટ્રસ્ટી, એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ કમિટી કે ઠીક છે. આજે માર્શાલ્લાહ આ બિલ્ડિંગમાં બધા જેટલા બી છે 32 ફ્લેટ્સ આપણા બધા માણસો રહીએ છે અહીંયા.
Our old Imam Barga, which is amongst the most prime property within Kampala city, plot 6 Wilson Road, we started working on that. It was a $2.5 million project, and again Kampala Jamaat did not have the highest source of income. So over the past few years we saved, we planned, and Alhamdulillah now that project has started.
And today Alhamdulillah, the previous committees and this committee has embarked on making a beautiful complex, a shopping complex, about 7 stories. This complex, with income, will benefit the community for its further developments and projects, inshallah.
I will thanks to the current management who has taken this project up for the Wilson Street. Will take our Jamaat 50 years ahead. That is the bottom of my heart. I thanks to all the Siptan merchant and his community Shabbar and our trustee Mustafa Bhai. They really have done very hard play role in this to be taken up this project.
Once this property is completed, inshallah, we expect its income will last over several generations in this Jamaat, and the Jamaat then has open doors in the future to work towards housing scheme, to work towards better educational facilities, maybe even head towards medical facilities. As a Jamaat, we can achieve all of that.
We have adjacent to mosque, again a 106 William Street plot, which is empty, which needs development as well, inshallah.
We hope and we encourage those who are watching to come here. It's very lucrative nowadays, business-wise, very safe. And Kampala, alhamdulillah, has a beautiful atmosphere, beautiful weather, and beautiful lifestyle.
And I think this is a great scope for that business here in Uganda for anybody today. With the oil reserves, all the money coming in, Uganda is really prospering. I think it's an amazing place to be.
So we request all of you, come, invest here, look for work here. It is very lucrative.
दिल तो सी